First, let's check in with Kylie. She's live over at ASU. Hey, Kylie.
Hey, good morning. We have been above average all year. And I will say I like to be above average, but not with the weather. I'm well in the below average territory. We're here at Arizona State University testing out the Marty card. This is a really cool card designed by this professor here, Dr. Ariana Middle, and her students. Doctor, tell me a little bit about what this does.
Yeah, so Marty measures mean radiant temperature, and this is the temperature as you would experience the heat. So it's not just air temperature, but it incorporates the heat load that the body receives when you're, say, standing in the middle of the sun versus in the shade. And Marty can measure this with these 6 sensors that are attached to these cross arms.
So let's talk a little bit about the temperature, because we're going to do an experiment here. We're on ASU campus, we're in the shade. Roughly, what is the temperature right now?
The temperature, air temperature, and mean radiant temperature right now is about 75 degrees Fahrenheit.
So that's totally tolerable, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as we walk over, we're going to have your student, your PhD student, walk us over to the we're in the shade, we're going to walk over to the sun, and Marty just within seconds adjusts, and we'll be able to see a pretty big difference?
Exactly. So as Florian is pulling Marty towards the sun, the sensors will pick up the direct sunlight, and the radiant temperature or the heat load on your body will be much higher. So Florian can now, once you park Marty, can check what the actual temperature is as you would feel it when you're standing right in the sun.
And I will say, I notice a big difference. Why is something like this important?
This is really important because temperatures are not going to get down, right? I mean, we were in this upwards trend, and it's really important to keep people safe in the summer when they're outdoors, and shade is really the #1 important factor to keep people safe.
So let's test this temperature out. I know you've got to open up this is the brain, right? Is that what you call it?
Right.
So as we scan this, we were at about 75 there. Now, what are we at right now?
What's the temperature? Can you see this?
It's 144.
It's, whoa.
MRT.
It's in Fahrenheit, it's 144 degrees right now. The air temperature is still 75, but it's just this extra heat that comes from the sun that hits these sensors that make Marty record such a high temperature.
So what should we do in the future? What can cities be doing to hopefully help alleviate some of the heat? Because like you mentioned, it's likely only going to get even hotter.
Right, so as I said, #1 priority should be shade, and providing shade in areas where people walk, where they bike, where they sit, bus stops, light rail stops, any place where you have people outdoors, shade is the #1 priority. And it doesn't have to be a tree, because there are a lot of areas where you cannot plant trees. So you could use shade sails, awnings, courtyards, any shade is great.
We appreciate your guys' time this morning. Really cool to do this experiment. And again, just talk about the difference, even though we're, maybe 20 feet from where we are standing with the sun and the shade. And April, I know you were standing by in the Weather Center. We're likely going to tie that record today of 143. And I mean, while we're at it, it's 2020, might as well break it, which it sounds like we're going to do tomorrow.